And good Saturday, December 25th, 2021. Merry Christmas to everybody. So, the reason I'm on YouTube right now is, anybody guess? You guessed it. Somebody from a certain meteorologist page reported a post and they said I was bullying. So, I got a 3-day ban on Facebook. Yeah. So, what I did is I took everything down. I was like, screw it, I'm done. So here we are on YouTube. Share, subscribe, hit that like button, leave us a comment. That share and subscribe and a thumbs up like, that's what counts here on YouTube. We got to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I know we can do it. Live platform is much more stable than Nazi book. Come on, folks. And you get notifications instantaneously when I go live or when I upload a video as well, versus up to an hour when I do a live or post on Facebook. So let's get the YouTube done. All right, so for me, it doesn't feel much of a Christmas, but it is what it is. Too warm out there. We got clouds out there, but we do have developing severe weather threat and pattern developing. And without further ado, let's get into that. So here we go. So here we go in the next week. This will be Wednesday, basically Tuesday night to Wednesday night. And what we have right here is slight risk. And this is going to be probably a low end threat. And I'm going to pencil in here. So somewhere around this, you're going to have your marginal risk in here. So again, it's a low end threat for most of Louisiana. We'll see what happens as that front gets into dislocation here, and whether any severe threat develops in this part of the state until it moves eastward. But supercells with damaging winds and an isolated tornado, those are going to be the two primary threats right now that are on the table, mainly for the areas in yellow, but it can't be ruled out for most of Louisiana as well. So bear that in mind. From Tuesday night to Wednesday night, it's a low end threat, low end setup, and I think that this event is going to be more tempered than the one following a few days later, right after the new year. So, what's going to happen with this front as it comes through on 29th to 30th? Timing is still a little bit sketchy right now, but this front, as it makes its way southeast, is actually going to lock up somewhere down in here and go zonal, and it'll stall. And it's pretty much going to wash off the board, and then high pressure is going to build back in. And what we have right now, we'll put some isobars in here just to give you a little general idea of things here. See if we can get it to come up here. There we go. So we got high pressure, big ridge high pressure out here. And if we take a look, let's go back and look at, let's see here. There we go. So for some odd reason, it's not giving me the entire thing here, but we've got a pooling of moisture down here in the Gulf, and although it doesn't show it on this entire map here, these dew points are going to rise, and as this next front, you can see it right here, as this front drops down eventually and gets down here and stalls and then lifts back up as high pressure down here in the southeast builds back in, and we get the return flow that'll come back in out of the Gulf. That's going to start the conveyor belt of moisture, and with basically zonal flow from west to east through the period, that's going to basically allow all these moisture dew point numbers to rise. And what's probably to happen is we'll see most of this down here, the central and western and southern Gulf of Mexico, dew points rise into the 70s, and they're just going to basically pool down here and sit. And then we'll get a little bit of advection northward to those 70s dew points, but not very much. Not until we get the next system that'll roll through here. And that next system, as it comes down out of the northeast or northwest up there, we've got a cutoff low down here. And if that next system is strong enough, then what's going to happen is the big tornado outbreak that we saw on December the 10th and 11th, that could be a very similar setup, because this next trough basically going to be a positive, possibly negative tilt, or near negative tilt, and as it does so, the models do have it. So some of the models at this point do have it sucking up this closed low, and as that low ejects out ahead of this trough, or front if you will, that's going to set the stage, because that's going to provide your lift, and it's also going to suck up a lot of that deep Gulf moisture. And again, there's still a lot of question marks right now as to whether that will actually happen, but the models are picking up on it, and if that indeed does happen, then some folks are going to be in trouble once again. Who, what, when, where, those are the big question marks right now. For the possibly the 2nd and 3rd of January. We'll have to see how that's going to play out. I do expect, as we get closer and the models become a little more defined, and we can get a better handle on what we might expect with that second system coming in just after the first of the year. If this plays out like I think it's going to, then we really need to pay attention and be prepared. So right now we have our tranquil warm weather. We've got 70-degree dew points all around us right now. Let me clear the tessellation there, and let's paint in some dew points real quick. if we can get them in here. We'll take away the day 5 here as well. So I've actually got a dew point of 72 here in Hathaway, Louisiana. If we zoom in, you can see uh, very, very modest dew points here. Upper 60s, low 70s, uh, to low 60s, all across the state, um, even way up into Mississippi. So we see, these 60-degree dew points stretching way up here near Cape, even into Cape Girardeau, southern Missouri here, in southern Illinois. So, and down into western Tennessee and northwestern Alabama, west central Alabama, and all into Mississippi, and a good swath of Arkansas and then through Texas. So you see the line of demarcation with the front between, very, very low dry air, low dew points versus very, very warm, moist air. And that's another key factor, an ingredient for severe weather. You see this high moisture content out ahead of the front. So again, how this plays out this coming week, possibly Tuesday night through Wednesday night. Again, right now I'm thinking it's a low-end severe weather threat, but 2nd or 3rd of January, probably a different story. And we'll take a look at the models real quick here, because it's really something that really needs to be watched. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up here to the GFS, and the first thing we'll do is take a look at the dew points. So let's start on midnight, January the 2nd. Mind you, this is still a good ways out, but there is a lot of consistency in the models right now, the long-range models. So you can see these dew points, and you look back here, and you see the red and the yellow is very, very dry air. I mean, you've got a clear line of demarcation, 34, 35-degree dew point versus just ahead of it, you got 64-degree dew points. So that's nearly a 30-degree difference in dew points. And down here in the Gulf, you see these pools of 70s dew points down here. And they even make it into southern Louisiana. But the warm sector goes way the heck up here into southern Illinois, southern half of Indiana, and even into Ohio, most of Kentucky, down through Tennessee, even Nashville, mid-60s dew points, Birmingham, mid-60s dew points, mid to upper 60s dew points all through Mississippi, and upper 60s dew points for most of Louisiana. So even over here towards Houston, 70-degree dew points. So there's a lot of pooling of dew points down here. I should say pooling of very high dew points. So that warm sector, let's watch what happens now as we move forward. And we're going to start this 186 hours out. So we'll go to midnight on the 2nd, midnight to the 4th. And let's load that loop up, because this is the one that I think we get nailed on. And bear with me here. You see the front moving across the state. give it a second for the animation to load up here. And unlike this first front coming this week, Wednesday or Thursday, this second front after the first of the year will clear and make it way out into the Gulf. But what I will also draw your attention to is watch what happens. I think we've got the full animation now. So if it skips and jumps a little bit, then we know it's not completely there. But look at the 60s and 70s dew points down here in the Gulf and how this front basically goes zonal, basically from west to east. As the front clears the east coast over here, the southern tail end of the front just goes zonal, basically west to east. And there you go. So what this does is allows these 70s dew points to continue to pool. And so with that, once this front begins to lift back up to the north, we get high pressure moving off to the east, that'll allow the return flow to begin, and all these 70s dew points will put us back into the warm sector as it advects back to the north, and that'll set the stage for the next round of severe weather. So again, despite the big outbreak that happened on December 10th and 11th, severe weather threat for the fall and winter severe weather season has been pretty tempered. I'll give it that. But it looks like things are getting ready to change, and now is the time to review your plans for your severe weather safety. Know what you're going to do if you're caught at work and severe weather strikes. Know your safe locations at work. If you're at home, know where your safe spot is. If you don't have a designated safe spot, designate one. Preferably bathroom, interior hallway, something with no windows on the lowest floor. Now, what we do is let's look at some temperatures here. With this front, we'll start for the same time period, midnight on the 2nd to midnight to the 4th. And let's let this animation load up here for just a second. You see that really, really cold air getting down here. And we'll take a look at future radar too. Again, I don't think there's going to be any frozen precip with the second one coming in after the first, somewhere around the 2nd to the 4th, somewhere in that time frame. Timing is still off the board, or I should say not off the board, but timing is still up for debate right now, or to be determined. But you see that bitter cold air getting down here, and we'll take a look at some of those temperatures here in just a second. What I'll do real quick is I'm going to extend this to see the 4th, 6 a.m. So we'll add a few more frames to it, and we'll get our wake up weather on the 4th as well as on the 3rd. Here's the 3rd. We get in the morning and now afternoon on the 3rd. All that bitter cold retreats back to the north, way north, and then it drops right back down as we get towards nightfall and into the overnight hours of the 4th. So let's back this up now. Alright, here we are on the 3rd. And let's zoom in here real quick. So let's see where all this bitter cold air is going to be. And actually it's not that cold. We've got some 30s as we plotted here. Fort Polk, DeRidder, 37, 39 Lake Charles, 41 here in Jennings. So it's not going to be all that bad. Nothing like we haven't already had. Even 40s down in New Orleans, 40s very close to the coast. Dulac, Galliano, Houma, Thibodaux, Pier Park, New Iberia. We're in Lake Arthur, Lake Kaplan. Lord have mercy. Hackberry. So a lot of people's flirting with the 30s. Kinder and Oberlin, Ville Platte, Jackson, Louisiana. Another place that's dear to my heart. Spent a couple of months there filming, working on the filming of the Magnificent Seven film. A lot of you know I was the on-location meteorologist for that film. Weather safety advisor and weather observer for their insurance company. So here we are on the 3rd. So good chunk of 30s, no freezes, and we'll take a look up north and let's see here what we've got in Shreveport. So we've got 35, 36 up in Fun Road, 38, 37. So it's not going to be overly bad. Alright. Melville 40, the Oakdale 38. Nothing that we haven't already had. Unfortunately, no freezes. Now, let's take it back to 6 a.m. on the 4th. Let's see where we're at here. 42, Jackson 39, Macomb 37, Natchez 39, Alexandria. So, basically about the same both days. A little colder in some spots, but for the most part, you can see Dulac, Galliano, and LaRose, Houma 44, Thibodaux 44, Pier Park 43, Franklin, New Iberia, Amelia, Morgan City area, low to mid 40s, Kaplan, Lake Arthur 42, Lafayette 42, Opelousas, Ville Platte. So see, it's a mix of 30s and 40s on the board here. So it is going to be chilly and breezy, probably more than likely. But for the most part, no freezing weather. Sorry, folks. And for my kiddo over there in Texas, 47. So again, no freezes. So as we take away that, now let's see if we get the apparent temperature here. See if that's actually going to work. So let's go out to let's see, 6 a.m. on the 3rd. That's the 31st. We don't want to go there. 6 a.m. on the 3rd. So with the wind chills, these are apparent temperatures now with a wind chill. Low to mid 30s with a wind chill, folks. This will be on January the 3rd. Now, this isn't set in stone. Remind you, once again, just a model forecast. But models are in fairly decent agreement at this point. So, the chances of seeing this continue to rise as we move through. So, again, these are basically your apparent temperatures with the wind chill factor involved. And you can see over in here in Houston, wind chill in the low to mid 40s. So this will be your wake up for January the 3rd. That would be a week from this coming Monday. And remember, despite we've had relatively good agreement in the models, even this far out, anything beyond 7 days, you take it with a grain of salt. But, hey, as we continue to move forward in time and the models stay in decent agreement on the long range forecast, confidence continues to grow. So now let's see what we've got for you wake up on the 4th. As far as apparent temperatures go, this would be Tuesday, January the 4th. And your apparent temperature is basically the same all across the area. Low to mid 30s, upper 30s. These are your wind chills. So it's a little bit of a breeze to bring down, not much. Probably winds 5 to 10 at this point. But with that, a little bit of a breeze, you get these wind chills. That just adds to the misery of cold. It's going to feel cold. We're not going to have any of that white stuff to go with it. So these are your apparent wind chills for your wake up Tuesday, January 4th. This will be that second big front that comes down. Now, as we start to get these big systems drop in, if this is indeed, a pattern shift that we're getting, which all signs indicate to a pattern shift, at some point we're finally going to get a freeze. I would be very, very, very surprised if we don't get a hard freeze this winter. If we don't, that's one for the record books for damn sure. That's almost a certainty. That new records will be basically shattered. Probably the warmest winter on record if we don't get any hard freezes this year. Usually we get 1, 2, 3 a year, despite whatever ENSO cycle we're in, whether it's ENSO neutral or La Nina or El Nino. We still get 1 or 2, possibly 3 good hard freezes every year. Could this be the year that we don't get it? Hey. Now, with that said, what we can do is let's take a look at radar. Now, the GFS radar really isn't all that great, and it's not high resolution, but let's back this up here because let's see, clear all. And let's get down here to reflectivity. Actually, let's go to reflectivity precipitation typing here. Alright, so let's go here to midnight. Set this back up. Let's see where we're at on the grand scheme of things here. So let's go back to New Year's at midnight, and we'll go to the let's go through the 3rd at midnight. So we'll load up these frames. We'll take a look at future radar and how this may potentially play out. See the warm sector storms building northward through Arkansas and upper Mississippi there. You'll see skips and jumps. All the frames are still loading on the animation, so we'll just give it a second here. But and not too concerned about this upcoming system on later this week, early to mid part of this week. This is our second big system. We're still getting all the frames loaded up here. See these jumps in the animation, that's just because all of the frames in the animation haven't fully downloaded and been put in there. It looks like everything's finished now. So here we go. Warm sector storms move north. That really dry air just undercuts everything and dries up all the moisture out behind it. So there's no residual snowfall or precipitation on the back side of this thing because the parent low is already ejected up to the northeast. So again, that's not going to leave us with anything to play in. But I do think they get nailed on the East Coast because of this. And so all the frames have loaded. Now you can see that as that warm sector builds north and as that low gets closer, a lot of stuff going on here. Now, GFS, is not a really good convective model. So again, we're going to have to wait and see once we get in range of the medium range models, the NAM 3 kilometer, the regular NAM, and the HRRR, which won't be for 2 to 5 days out. So once we get a 2 to 5 day time range on this, that's going to be where we have a much, much better look at how this plays out after the first of the year. Suffice it to say, you know, another cool down is coming. Potentially another severe weather outbreak. And the biggest part of that severe weather outbreak again looks to be north and northeast of us as this system ejects off to the north and east. Uh, will we get any severe weather? That's still to be determined at this point. So it's possible. A lot of things hinge on whether that closed low near Baja actually gets picked up by this second system after the first of the year. If it does, that's a game changer. Especially as high pressure builds back in after the first front comes in this coming week, and we start to get return flow from the Gulf with those 70s dew points, upper 60s and 70s dew points streaming way north. So that'll set the stage. So with that said, there you have it in a nutshell, at least for now. All the long-range guidance. Pretty much indicating a pattern flip. Then we have our next second big system that'll be coming in out here, or third big system that looks to be making its way across the continental United States. So these back-to-back fronts within 5 to 7 days of each other looks to be that's the way the pattern is going to start going. And then you have this deep moisture streaming in out of the Pacific there, and almost looks like Pineapple Express type moisture plume there, atmospheric river. So combine that plus return flow from the Gulf as we head further into January and February, and this could be setting the stage for the spring as well. So even though we're now into the heart of winter, it's not too soon to start talking about our spring. So bear in mind, just because we've had a relatively quiet severe weather fall and winter severe weather season, signs are there that things are getting ready to change. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this YouTube forecast, and I will be back on Nazi Book tomorrow afternoon. So I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I will talk to everybody tomorrow afternoon. With that, have a good Christmas. I'm going next door to start cooking the turkey and getting the victuals ready for this evening's meal, and we'll talk again later. Thanks for watching, you guys.